Hi guys, thanks for coming back and joining me again today. Today we are going to be looking at how to add fractions again. So we're going to look at two different problems. Our first problem that we're going to do today is 1/2 plus 1/5. And as we know, right now we cannot add these because the denominators, the bottom numbers, are not the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag them both over. I'm going to put the 2 on top, the 5 on the bottom, and the reason I'm doing that is I want my 2 to be first because it's my first fraction I had. So now I just got to skip count, and I like to skip count by the small number first. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 5 is 10. I like to stop at times 5 just because it gives me a good little start. And then once I get there, I go to the bigger number and I do one at a time and look for a match. 5 times 1 is 5. Does that match one of my 2's? No, it doesn't. So I got to do my next one. 5 times 2 is 10. That actually gives me a match. And there it is. That is going to be my LCM. My LCM is 10. And that is going to become my new denominator. What I need to do with that new denominator now is I need to put it at my bottom number of both of my fractions. So I'm now going to have something tenths plus something tenths, and that's going to equal something tenths. We're not sure what that is yet because we have to now use our old fractions up here, the original ones that we got, to make our new ones down here. They are going to be equivalent to the old ones. And let's see how that happens. How did our 2 become a 10? Well, it wasn't times 1. It wasn't times 2. It wasn't times 3. It wasn't times 4. It was actually because we multiplied by 5. So we know 2 times 5 gives us that 10 that we wanted. So we have to do the same thing to the top. Multiply the top by 5, which is going to give us 5/10. Again, we're making equivalent fractions. 1/2 is the same thing as 5/10. 1 is half of 2, 5 is half of 10. So those are equivalent. We can see that. Now let's find out, how did our second fraction change? It had a 5 on the bottom, now it's a 10. How does that happen? Not times 1, but times 2. So if I multiply the bottom by 2, I get the 10 I need. So I have to multiply the top by 2, which gives me a 2. Now I can just finally add my top numbers, my numerators. 5 plus 2 is 7. That is a good answer. What we need to do now is we need to try to simplify that answer. We need to look for the GCF of those two numbers, of 7 and 10. Factors is what we're looking for. F, GCF. These are my factors. 1 times 7 equals 7. 2 doesn't work. 2 times nothing equals 7. 3 times nothing equals 7. 4s don't make a 7. 5s don't make a 7. 6s don't make a 7. 7s do, and you already have it on your list, so you're done with your 7s. Now let's try our 10s. 1 always works. 1 times 10. What about 2? 2 is going to work because 2 times 5 equals 10. 3 doesn't work. 3 doesn't make a 10. 3, 6, 9, 12. 3s don't make a 10. 4s don't make a 10. 4, 8, 12. That doesn't work either. So then we get to our 5s, which we already have on our list. So then we're done. So those are the factors. What we need to do now is find what they have in common. Find the numbers that they both have. They both have a 7. 7 has a 1 and 10 has a 1. 7 has a 7, but 10 does not. 7 does not have a 2, it does not have a 5, and it doesn't have a 10. So what do we need now? We need the greatest one. What is the greatest factor? The greatest factor is actually only 1. If your GCF is 1, then you're done. And see how they have the word 1 in the number done? And this actually is going to be our best answer. It cannot be simplified. It can't be simplified. That's our best answer. We don't need to do anything else to it. Okay? Let's try one more question. I'm going to start out the same way. We're going to get two fractions that do not have the same denominators. We're going to work with 5 ninths plus 4 sixths. Now, I noticed something right away, that 5 is more than half of 9, and 4 is more than half of 6. So this is more than half, and that's more than half, which means I should be getting something that's bigger than 1 whole. Let's see what happens. Again, we can't add yet because the denominators are not the same, so I'm going to bring them over. I got 9 and then 6. Again, I like to skip count by the small number first and go to times 5. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. And 6 times 5 is 30. Now I come back and do my bigger number, and I do those one at a time. 9 times 1 is 9. There's no match with 9. So I go to 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. And when I get 18, I actually find my match. There it is. They both have an 18. So that becomes my LCM is 18. What do I do with that? That becomes my new denominator, my new bottom number, because that's what they have in common. 9 can become an 18. 6 can become an 18. So I have something 18ths plus something 18ths is going to equal something 18ths. We just don't know what the numerators are yet. To get those numerators, we have to use our old fractions, the original ones we got, to make our new ones down here. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to look at our LCM. We're going to look at our skip counting. Our 9 has to become an 18. That's not 9 times 1. It's actually 9 times 2. So 9 times 2 gives me 18. Whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do the same thing to the top. So I multiply that by 2, and that gives me 10. There's my new equal fraction that has my common denominator, the 18 on the bottom. Now I got to look at my 6. 6 became 18. How did it change? Not times 1, not times 2, but it actually was times 3. So multiply the bottom by 3. 6 times 3 does give me that 18. Whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do the same thing to the top. 4 times 3 is 12. All right. Now, what we need to do next is we now add the top. 10 plus 12 is 22. Uh-oh. That looks funny. Well, it's not that it looks funny. It just looks different than what we're used to seeing. That is, again, what we call an improper fraction. That's when our denominator at the bottom is smaller than the top number. The top number tells us how much we get, and the bottom number tells us how much is in one whole. So what I have here is I have a number line that I made. I went from 0, and I went all the way to 25. I actually didn't have to go that far because I only need 22 parts because that's what my top number is. Top number is 22. So I need to get to there. Need to get to 22. But a super important thing I have to pay attention to is my denominator because my denominator is 18. That tells me how much is in one whole. So if 18 slices make one whole item, that means right now we have one whole. What do we have after that one whole? How many steps after 18? We ate one whole, then we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 more pieces. So that goes on top, and our bottom number, our denominator, is going to stay the same. So right now we have a correct answer. Then we got our even better answer, but we have to try to simplify that fraction. We have to try to simplify 4/18. So to simplify, we know we need our T-chart. We need our factors. How do you get 4? With 1 times 4. 2 works. 2 times 2. You got the same number twice, so you're done. Now let's try 18. 1 times 18 works. 2 has to work because 18 is even. So you need 2 times 9 is 18. Then try 3s. 3s work too. 3 times 6 is 18. Then try your 4s. 4s don't work. 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 5 is 20, so 4s don't work. Next is 5s. 5s aren't going to work because 5s only make numbers that end in 0 or 5. So then we go to 6s. We already have a 6 on our list, so you're done. What we need to do now is find our matches. What do they both have? Both sides have to have it. They're always going to have a 1. 4 has a 2, and 18 has a 2. 4 has a 4, 18 does not, which means 4 does not have a 3. There's no 6 over there. There's no 9 over there, and there's no 18 over there. So we found all the common ones, and now we want the greatest one. What is the greatest one they both have? That's our 2. Once you find the GCF, you divide the top and the bottom by the GCF. Don't forget to keep your whole number the same, though. We still got our 1 whole. We need to divide the top by 2 and divide the bottom by 2. To find those answers, you can look right back in your multiplication, in your GCF chart where your multiplication is. 4 divided by 2. Find the 4. Find the 2. What's next to it? Another 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Same thing, 18 divided by 2. Find the 18. Find your 2. What's next to that 2? A 9. So our 9 goes on the bottom. And this is going to be our best simplified answer. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate you coming. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you again later. Bye.